Okay, fair enough. So we are starting the credit rating part 2. So the table of content for this session is the role of credit rating in particularly business development. So one thing we have understood, what is the objective of credit rating, what are the importance of credit rating. Now we will discuss something from the business perspective. Next is we will understand some intricacies of financial statement during credit rating. We are going to understand the history of Fitch and how was the journey of Fitch till now. We are going to understand history of Moody's Investor Services. We will understand the history of Standard Poor. Then we will discuss something which are alternate to credit rating. So it's not only credit rating which we resort to, but there is some alternate data. What are those points we are going to discuss in this session. Then we'll discuss some important ratios which are considered by credit rating companies. At this stage, I would like to have more and more participation and a two-way session. Like it should be from your side also. Probably there are a few people who are already working in credit rating companies, right? And last but not the least is the rating rationale for Infosys. Rating rationale of Infosys, I have already given it in the PPT. We will discuss some key points on the rating rationale of Infosys. Right? Let's get started. So when we talk about role of credit rating in business development, the first point which comes to us is access to financing. Now, as we had already discussed is because a good rating will give you good access to finance. It can be in terms of debt, it can be in terms of equity, it can be even in terms of venture capital. Next is cost of capital. Obviously, the cost of capital will be low for a good rated companies and vice versa. It will be high for a bad rated company. Next is supplier and customer relationship. Now, when we talk about supplier and customer relationship, how credit rating is important and how it is significant. Credit rating influences the trust and confidence that suppliers and customers have in a business. A strong credit rating demonstrates financial stability and reliability, making it easier to negotiate favorable terms with suppliers, such as longer payment terms, bulk purchase discounts. Additionally, a good credit rating assures customers about the company's ability to fulfill orders and meet contractual obligations. Now, here I would like to ask you one question. So, how do I negotiate with the suppliers, specifically with the suppliers, about the credit term if I have a good credit rating? What supplier is interested in? Why supplier would give me a good credit, credit period based on my credit rating? Not theoretically, but tell it practically. You can write in the chat box. How supplier is related to my credit rating? He is concerned about his money. He will give me raw materials, he will get his money. But why the role of credit days gets changed when I get a good credit rating? Solvency, can you elaborate it? Solvency is a generic term. I want to get down to the crux of what I try to say. But why he will give me an extended credit period? Why? Understand, but then he has availability of fund, ability of repay. But how does, see, if I am giving raw material to somebody, I already know that the person is able enough to repay and is having a good intention, then only I'm going to supply raw material to him. Otherwise, I'm not going to do that. Number one. But how his credit rating can make me feel that I might lose this customer if I do not give him a proper credit. Think slight critically. I'll definitely answer this, but you have to think critically. Think from the point of substitution. Why? Why other suppliers will be ready to provide? See, now you have to understand one thing, right? I have two options procuring raw material. One is in credit, one is in cash, right? Do I have two options, right? I can either opt for a credit or I can make immediate cash back. Cash bank anything but immediate, right? Or I would like to say immediate payment. These are the two options. Now, in case I have a good credit rating, bank will give me CC, cash credit or overdraft, right? Now, once I am getting this, sorry. Now, once I am getting this, I have got a cash credit account, a cash credit limit, or an overdraft limit. Can I make immediate payment to my supplier? Yes or no? Can I make immediate payment to my supplier? Yes or no? Right? I can make immediate payment to any supplier. Now, here comes the point of negotiation. You give me 2 rupees rate, I will make you payment immediately. The other supplier comes, I negotiate, you give me 1.75 rate, I make you immediate payment. Right? The other supplier comes, I give him a rate of 1.50, I make you immediate payment. Right? But how much can you lower down your rate? Is it has to be, is it feasible for you? Being a supplier, how much can you lower down your rate? And how much is actually feasible to you? Is it actually feasible to you as a supplier? So he makes immediate payment. Yeah, so you have to keep some margin over the cost price, right? You have to take out your cost price, your overall admin expense and operation expense, and then you need to have some margin. Otherwise, why you will get into a business? You will invest your money in an FD and relax at home, right? Now, the point is, this gets substituted by credit. Then you say, sir, you don't need to make immediate payment. You are a good customer. You have good credit rating. I will give you credit. Sir, you keep the rate 2 rupees. Do not lower down the rate. I will give you a credit of 15 days. Now the second supplier comes. He said, sir, you keep the rate as 2 rupees only. I will give you a credit of 20 days. And next comes at with the credit days of 25 days. So what happens? actually what happens, you can negotiate in two things. One is rate, another is credit period for the supplier. For the supplier. All right. So this is basically a kind of substitution. Any doubt in this? Anybody else? Any doubt? Okay. Now what happens with customers? What happens with customers? This is for the supplier, but what happens for customer? How a good credit rating helps a customer to decide, yes, we will avail the product and service from this particular party. It might not be necessary that I have a good rating means I will be giving a good quality of material, right? Then how a customer can trust on me? Based only on good rating. What is that significance of good rating which will make my customer, develop a kind of comfort for me? Yes, execution capabilities, most important. Next, delivery schedules. Okay, so commitment of delivery, right? Next, what else? What else? What else, guys? Only two have replied. Yeah, he can, if the customer is a major customer and there are a lot of stakeholders included, then he can internally justify. Continuity in product delivery, very important. So stability. So when I have good rating and so rating considers not only about my debt repayment facility, but it gives you a holistic picture, how long I am into this business. So in the rating rationale, you read from when the firm is formed, the firm is operational for last. So was operational for last 10 years or last 3 decades. So stability. And then once I purchase a product or service from this company is serving that also. This company has got good CSR. This company is overall having good management capability, right? That means what? That means, yes, Kamlesh, that is what I wanted to know. After sales service. So I will be getting after sales service. This company is not a fly-by-night operator that tomorrow this company will vanish from the market and I will not get service, right? Anybody who is using a Ford car, Ford. Anybody who is having Ford car? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anybody? Ford Fiesta was good. EcoSport was good. But now imagine whoever has purchased EcoSport a couple of years back before it got shut down. Now, what will happen 5 years down the line regarding the parts and service availability? So I don't know whether you guys remember or not. Correct, Tathagat. So I don't know if you remember, there was a company who came to India along with Hyundai. is Daewoo. So they came up with two cars. One is Matiz, a hatchback. Another is CLO. You remember CLO? CLO is at that time, like it was a much sought after car. It used to look very slightly different, like having a nice sedan. And Matiz is among the small cars, it was a good car, Matiz. Now both these companies came together. Yeah, so even Opel. But they had left market. They, you Opel have left Indian market. Hyundai became excessively successful. Compared to Matiz Hyundai Santro, Hyundai brought Santro Zip Drive. That became excessively successful compared to the Matiz. Now, what happened to people who had purchased CLO and Matiz? They were still struggling for, service. They were struggling for service. So when you have a good rating, now the next question you can ask me is, does that mean that Daewoo doesn't have a good rating? Does that mean that Daewoo doesn't have a good rating? Then how do you predict? From customer's point of view? If you purchase a car and if you want to analyze the company, whether it will stick to this country or not for a long time, how do you decide? So people were somewhat skeptical about MG Hector, whether this company will stick to this company or not. Even we don't know how long MG will be there in India. Kia as well initially, but then Kia was genuinely having some technical issue, which was resolved later. Kia was really having some technical issue, and those were resolved. Right? Now Kia is like, probably every third vehicle is a Kia. Either Kia Sonet or Seltos. Now the point is, it is always better to, there is an old adage saying, if you want to purchase car, stand beside a road and see how many cars are passing. The maximum number of visible cars should be your brand of choice or choice of brand. Right? So now, Anand, what you are saying is a correct thing. It has a Chinese investor, it might have a problem, it might leave India, right? So here rating doesn't play much importance, but again, an overall analysis and understanding about the company and its continuity and chances of continuity becomes extremely important. Oh, really? This I didn't know that MG is planning to sell stake. Okay, you analyze equity. Anand would love to connect with you because you analyze equity. So probably I'll get to know a lot of things about equity analysis and all from you. Please do connect on LinkedIn. Okay, let's go ahead. Business partnership and alliances. When establishing partnership or alliances with other companies, Credit rating can serve as an indicator of financial health and integrity. A favorable credit rating enhances the reputation of the business and makes it more attractive as a potential partner, opening up opportunities for a joint venture. So, guys, you must have seen that currently there is a trend of empaneling fintechs by banks. Have you seen that? Empaneling fintechs in the banks. Okay. So when we talk about fintech, I'm not talking about somebody who works as a liaison between the bank and the customer. What I mean by fintech is a tech solution provider or a tech partner for a bank or NBFC. Now, when I talk about tech partnership, it means they need to have qualified technical skilled manpower. They must be having a ready software, or might be they can take it as a project basis. They must be ISO certified company. They must be having minimum net worth. So these are the criteria which is specifically mentioned by the bank. A minimum turnover, a minimum net worth. The proof of the net worth is obviously a net worth certificate coming from CA, again, who is an unbiased entity. Next one is credit rating. So some way or the other, they prefer credit rating of your company. So when you partner with a bank, credit rating becomes important. Now, have you heard about a recent ongoing term that is co-lending? Where banks partner with NBFCs. It's a trend for another 5 years. So on the day back, I got a call for a bank. They're looking for senior VP. I said, no, I'm not interested right now. So honestly speaking, banks are looking for professionals who are having expertise in co-lending, because I have done co-lending middleware development. So I have a bit of idea about co-lending. So what happens when banks partnered with the NBFCs or the microfinance institute? They also look at the rating because they check the entire portfolio. Checking the entire portfolio again might be a big task, where they do check a sample of the portfolio and the overall profitability, but they also resort to the rating. So before SIDBI partnering with an NBFC like Tata Capital, or before say Indian Bank or UCO Bank participating with a company called Muthoot, they do check the rating of Muthoot. They do a 360-degree appraisal of Muthoot, right? Yeah, so NBFC source it, there are two modes of co-lending. One is co-lending mode 1, CLM1. Another is CLM2. Anybody knows what is the difference between CLM1 and CLM2? Anybody? Any idea? Co-lending mode 1 and co-lending mode 2, what is the difference? So co-lending mode 1 is NBFC source the deals and sends for approval to bank. To bank. Then bank approves and then only disbursement takes place. Yeah. So, and CLM2 is NBFC has already disbursed and is having a pool which they want to securitize. CLM2 is most preferred by bank because those are already disbursed cases. One round of underwriting has happened. So banks are generally preferring CLM2 in co-lending. These are the two modes of co-lending. Yeah, Paytm partnered with Aditya Birla, The Bandhan Bank is partnering with multiple companies. Even NBFC is partnering with NBFC. So this one, Profectus is partnering with multiple small microfinance companies. So there are a lot of things which is happening. The main reason. Now tell me, what is the reason of co-lending? What is the reason of this partnership? What is the reason for this partnership? Yeah, so NBFC has good reach. NBFC and MFI has good reach, and banks have money. So it's a collaboration of these two to meet the priority sector lending target. So when we talk about priority sector lending, that means lending to the unorganized sector, the unbanked sector, who has never been given money before, who has never done any kind of banking activities before, right? So NBFCs, MFIs have that kind of reach where they do give loan to those parties where the banks doesn't have reach. Now, banks have PSL target. In order to meet that PSL target, they are collaborating with those NBFCs or MFIs. But credit rating of those MFIs, NBFCs are also very, very important. Investor confidence, we have already spoken in the last video, and the risk management and the decision making. So there are a lot of risk factors like counterparties. Business can make informed decision about extending credit, setting payment terms, managing trade credit risk, maintaining a healthy cash flow, right? Now, I can tell you one instance. I was talking to a customer on the day back. That was a demo which was going on, and they are into supply chain finance. So anybody who is having any understanding of supply chain finance here? Anybody knows how do you set up limit for the dealers? Anyone with an SCF background, supply chain finance background? Seems nobody. Okay. So basically, in supply chain finance, you will find a concept called tranche or 10-year or 10-year. Now, what is that? Says tranche is 60 days or 90 days or 120 days or even 45 days or even 30 days. Now, this 10-year depends on industry. So if the dealer is from FMCG sector, this 10-year is minimum 30 days because their working capital cycle is much lower compared to one who is into heavy industries, machineries, plant and machinery manufacturer, plant and machinery dealer, or even the auto dealer. Normally, an auto dealer will have a 60 to 90 days tranche. There are some auto dealers, construction equipment dealers who has a tranche of 120 days. Now, the customer's query is that I have an auto dealer as my customer who has come to take supply chain finance, and the normally tranche is 60 days, but looking at the credentials, I do not want to give him 60 days, I want to give him 30 days. Fair enough. Now, there can be a situation that with a bad credit rating of this dealer, you can give him 30 days. What could be the other possibility? Looking at the working capital cycle, probably you decide that he doesn't need 60 days tranche. He needs a tranche of say around 30 days. Right? Possible, yes or no? Some intricacies of financial statement during credit rating. Just quickly go through this. So what do you see? You look at the balance sheet. You look at the cash flow statement and the PL account. We can quickly go through this, and we can also, understand few ratios. Now, why quality of financial reporting is important? Can you please tell me why quality of financial reporting is important in credit rating? Misrepresentation. Very good. What else? Incorrect or fudging of data. Okay. Next. Better disclosure, accurate depiction of the current and future projection. Very good. Valuation comfort. What else? So when I talk about financial reporting, what do I refer to actually? Corporate governance, yes, very important. True. Look at their accounting practices. Correct. So here I have to get slightly into the details and get my hands dirty by going through each and every notes. Now, what do I find when I go through each and every notes? I have found in my career of underwriting, I have found many anomalies while I have gone through notes. And then client had to give it separately. Without checking that the PL account is a mismatch or balance sheet is a mismatch, financials have been audited. I don't know whether it was a forged report or not. Audited. I still doubt how could it get audited. Yes, I have seen such reports. Now, I'll tell you a situation where you see that your interest expense has increased, whereas your loan component has decreased. Interest expense has increased compared to last financial year, whereas your loan component has decreased. What do you understand? Yes, Amit. During the COVID pandemic, they came up and explained all buckets of loans and its relative impact on delinquency. No, my question is, your interest expense has increased, whereas your loan component has decreased. So one answer I got, that is could be increased rate of interest, probably PLR has increased. Yeah, could be short-term borrowing, which is taken in the mid of the year and was closed and which is not getting reflected in the balance sheet, for which interest is being paid. Say a loan has been taken for a short term, for which interest is being paid and it is getting reflected in my PL account, but it is not coming to the balance sheet. Why? Because it was not kept till 31st of March. That is one. Second, no, during the year partial repayment, how it can be possible? So I'm saying that, say for an example, say your loan component, considering both secured and unsecured, is say 200 CR in the last financial year, and in the current financial year, it is 150 CR, right? This is available where? In the balance sheet, right? Next is interest. Interest, which was, say for an example, 24, has increased to 36. Now, this is something where you have to look at both balance sheet and PL account. Yeah, so whatever you are writing, it could be prepayment penalty, it could be defaulted, and then now prepayment penalty ideally should not come as interest. It's not an interest payment. So if they have made it, there is interest component, then also there is nothing, like you cannot do anything because anyhow the financial statements have been audited. But then at least ideally as a credit rating analyst, you should deep dive and understand what is that animal, why it has happened that there is a 12 CR increase in my interest expense, whereas there is 25% reduction in my debt component. Then what for that, 50% increase in interest rate is there? It's a big amount, right? What could be the other possibility? What could be the other possibility? Baiju is slightly a different ball game also, which is happening to most of the edutech companies. Incorrect accounting can be one possibility, but if I say that it is intentional, then why it is intentional? So Amit, you are quite close to what I want to know. No. So then you see the breakup of the loan components and you see the breakup of the interest components. So in this case, if it is intentionally done, then you will find a statement that interest paid to financiers. That's it. Very vague term. In the notes, they will not give breakup like bank 1, bank 2, bank 3, this much interest, and this much interest. They will not give if it is intentional. But here is a point. There can happen a situation that when you right, yes, that is what I am saying. For that, you need to see how can they take directly. They cannot directly pay to the promoters. What the scenario could have been, see the breakup of these 200 and 150. Probably there is some USL from the promoters, unsecured loans from promoters or related party. Promoters or related party, right? And they are taking interest. All of a sudden, they have started taking interest. So they have started carving out money from the business in this form. They have started carving out money from the business in this form, in this way. But ideally, it is wrong or right? Ideally, it is wrong or right from accounting standards. I'm not saying ethically, from accounting standards. whether it is right or wrong from accounting standard, not ethically. It is right. So for Kunal, it is right. Amit Kapoor, it is right. Okay. Who else? Anand, it is wrong. Okay. Tanumay, it is right. Who else? Who are the people who would like to say it is right? I am talking about accounting standards. It's a templated policy, accounting standard. It cannot change with situation. Accounting norms can be justified for a downgrade, for an upgrade, it can be justified, but norms cannot be changed. There is a fixed norm, accounting standard. My question is whether it is right or wrong as per accounting standard. As a credit rating analyst, you must know this. What about other 6 or 7 people have replied? That's it. There are 22 participants. Okay. So it is wrong from accounting standard perspective. Why it is wrong? Because as per accounting standard, if I treat a portion of the loan as, say, for an example, 50 CR as unsecured loan from related party or borrowers, then, and if I am paying interest for that, up to this much is correct, then you have to look one more point, whether I am treating this as a quasi-equity or not. If this is being treated as a quasi-equity, then giving interest to the related party is wrong. So you have to see that in the debt equity ratio, there is a justification which is given that the debt is high, but out of the debt component, yeah. So for an example, the total debt, say for an example, 150 is the total debt, out of which 50 is a debt from promoters, right? Right, and equity is, sorry, equity is say around 70, right? This is promoters contribution, promoters, USL from promoters. So the CA has correctly done debt equity ratio as what is the debt? 150, equity is 70. All right. Now the finance guy is saying that no, sir, 2.14 is too high. Actually, the debt equity ratio is less. The debt component is less. How? Because, sir, out of this 150, 50 is treated as quasi-equity. So ideally, my debt is 150 minus 50 divided by 70. So actually, my debt equity ratio is 1.42. This is the scenario overall. The company is claiming, no, sir. You can see that there is a debt of 150 CR and there is an equity of 70 CR, but you cannot calculate debt equity ratio 2.14. Why? Because out of 150 CR of debt, there is 50 CR of USL from promoters. And once that I consider as a quasi-equity, then my debt equity ratio becomes 1.42. Right? You can face such a situation, right? Yes or no? Everyone? Yes? Okay. Now, in this situation, again, you are saying that there is an increased payment of interest. And yeah, Kunal, I'm coming to you. And that increased interest payment has gone to the related party. As per accounting standard, when you are considering USL as quasi-equity, then you cannot pay interest to the related parties. Yes, Kunal, please ask your question. Tell me. What is CCPS? I need to check this. Basically, it is an advanced version of equity. But I need to check this. Yeah, preference share will not pay interest. Correct. Yes, Kunal, rating agencies take their own view, but these are certain standardized, format of working. So we are talking about that. Now, for an example, you go to CRISIL, probably their model of rating is something which might slightly differ with that ICRA. But that difference would be around 10 to 15%, not more than that. Okay. So up to this much is clear? Any doubt, any query for me? Promoter equity, they can always increase, but only thing is that do remember one thing, what we are trying to say, Yashwant, here is you can consider that as equity or quasi-equity only if you are not paying interest for that. On the one side, you are showing my debt equity ratio is low considering my this portion has come from promoter. But on the other hand, you are paying interest to the promoter, which these two things should not happen simultaneously. That is what I'm trying to say. Right? Okay. Next is industry comparison. We had discussed this to some extent that we will compare industry to industry. Rating helps in doing that. They do compare industry to industry and also as a peer to peer. If they do a relative performance analysis. Let's quickly go through the history of Fetch. Or should I read for you? Which one is better? Fitch Ratings, commonly known as Fitch, is one of the big three credit rating agencies, along with Standard and Poor and Moody's. It's a global provider of credit rating research and analysis service. Fitch's ratings are widely used by investors, issuers, regulators to assess credit. Yes, Tanumay, but it is a credit rating. You cannot ignore that, right? So you should know the history. Is it visible properly? You guys can read, or should I read it for you? Okay. Please go through this and let me know once this page is done. Sure, someone is having a question. Yeah, 1 second. Uh, Sivan, I have a question on the above, and if you can talk about how they failed and still continue to operate sovereign auditors. Okay. So we are going to talk about some internal rating concepts on the next session, where we will cover sovereign ratings. So we'll definitely going to cover it there. So we have on credit rating, we have around 4 sessions. So 2 are done. Next 2 will be done on the next Saturday, where we are going to cover a lot more things on the international or global aspect. It will include a lot of things which we will talk about. Yeah, this is the next page. Okay, let me know once you are done, then I'll go ahead. Sunday becomes slightly critical for most of the candidates, because especially those who are married, having family, understand, but then we all are professionals. So this weekend is the only time for our self-development. Okay. This is the history of Moody's Investor Service. Please quickly go through this. So I'd like to say one thing. That's a good question. When Fed and central banks are unable to predict economic turmoil, having all data sets, how can credit agencies can and should? That's true. They cannot and they should not also. But there are certain things which is economic turmoil and there is certain things which is highly unpredictable, like COVID. Nobody could assess, even standing on October or November of 2019, that probably next 2 years is going to be total doldrums, and even railway was stopped for around 6 to 8 months. Nobody could predict that. Nobody. So that's a total different scenario. Now coming to Lehman Brothers, do you think that Lehman Brothers was really an economic scenario, economic downturn, or it was a created? What do you see? I would say it's a created one. People knew that this could happen. It is a bubble burst. Absolutely, it's a bubble burst. You are very good that you are giving home loans, affordable home loans, and then you are securitizing and raising money, and then you have a portfolio, you securitize, you raise money, and then further you go ahead and fund it to the affordable home loan section, and that then it gets burst. When it gets burst, then your original portfolio gets affected. It's a chain reaction which had happened, right? That's a created one. ILFS, was it an economic downturn? It has severely impacted home loan sector, but was it an economic downturn or it was a created one? So Anand, this is not surprising. So if you see carefully, the quantum of FDI or FII that is coming to the equity market, especially the institutional investors who are, investing in Indian market. So whenever there is a turmoil in the US, that is definitely going to, they might want to suck the money out of the Indian equity market, and your equity market falls. It's not very surprising. So then actually we need to see the data. So I don't know perfectly how much percentage is there, but there is a significant increase. Now, could be it is a 2%, which was 0.2%. Now, how much turmoil was there? Now, even in COVID, how much turmoil was there in the Indian equity system? I would say rather, both in 2008 and in 2020, India was quite insulated. And probably the reason for insulation is because there is insignificant amount of foreign direct investment. Is it 18% is the current figure of the entire equity market? So if 18% is the current figure, then it's a big number. It's not a very small number. 18% is a big number. Now, you see, for last 10 years, no, 23% before. I am talking about, say, last 20 years. You see, last 20 years. What was the FII percentage in 2000, 2005, 2010, 2020? You can see, you can Google it and see. If FII percentage has increased, then obviously when your FII sucks money from the equity market, then obviously equity market is going to get affected. Correct me if I'm wrong. If it is 18%, it's a significant figure. But still, I would say 18% being a significant figure. There are countries where probably there is FII is much higher than 18%. So they got economically more affected compared to India. So in 2008 also, there was much of a ripple effect, and which was called a pseudo ripple, I would say. Yeah, Southeast Asia, their stake is high, and which I would rather prefer to say it's a kind of pseudo effect. Like, you know that there is an economic uh, turbulence. Based on that, you say we are facing an economic turmoil, and so I want to go for retrenchment. I will go for salary cuts. I will go for employees cuts. I will reduce my headcounts and all these things. Many companies has used it as a plea to reduce their headcount. Some has done during COVID, some has done post-COVID. Now, post-COVID, what has happened, especially why there is too much of job cuts in the IT and edutech? Can somebody answer? Why there is too much job cuts in IT and edutech post-COVID? Why there is too much of job cut post-COVID in IT and edutech? Right, Arvind, it is overhiring. It is overhiring. It's not because money is not there. Money is there. During COVID, yes, Praveen, you are also right. During COVID, people thought that entire thing will go for an online mode. Entire education system, entire meeting, everything will go for an online mode. People will travel less. People will have online meetings more. Yes, that is happening. That's true. But later on, which was seen that once COVID and everything is gone, then people are getting back to the physical modes. Schools have restarted, institutions have restarted, and people are also not very much interested in going for this online classes. Now, online classes, if you want to get a course on Python, SQL, you will get it at 500 rupees online. You pay 500 rupees, you get a certification. So that is what. Now, a lot of gurus have come. They started giving ads in the Facebook, LinkedIn, and all. So digital back to physical, which has, based on that expectation that everything will go digital, everything will become virtual, they had a lot of people. Now they got a reality shock and they have to reduce the headcounts. This is what is happening. This is what has happened. Baiju, any edtech company, any edutech company, even the companies, small companies who used to make software for the educational institute, where you can record all the classes, you can have online meetings, online exams, everything. Everybody is facing the same thing. Yes, it started with Educom. True. Zoom boom bust. Right. So now I think I could answer the question that yes, it is true that a credit rating agencies cannot predict all the turmoil, but yes, it is expected that probably they will do an analysis with their utmost knowledge and can give some kind of prediction. Now tell me one thing. When we find out probability of default, either by any model, could it be a logistic regression model or any statistical model, where we factor into around 100 plus variables, right? We do that, right? We factor into 100 plus variables when we set up a model, credit risk model, or a predictive analysis model, right? Now, even we train and test that model, and testing gives me around 90% accuracy, 89% accuracy, like that. then also model fails. Now, when we say model fails, then when we say model fails means what I say that probably there would be around 2% probability of default. It goes to 5%, 10%, or even 22%. Then again, there is something which is called a reactive approach, where you deep dive and see what exactly is happening and what you had assumed. Then there is a concept called champion challenger. So something which you thought is best, a policy you made, which is the best one, it's a champion. There is another policy which you make that is challenger on the same data set, and you see how the model behaves. That is how it is. Even in a credit risk model, you cannot guarantee that 100% it will be successful and the model will not fail. Yes, the model is bound to fail. There are certain intervening variables which you cannot even predict of. Nothing can be predicted. Today I start for my office. I know that I will be reaching my office from my house to my office. It takes normally around 1.5 hours. It's a drive of 1.5 hours, 90 minutes drive. At times, I get stuck. In Mumbai, traffic is unpredictable. So I get stuck. It crosses 2 hours. What do I do? It's unpredictable, right? Okay. So the crisis led to increased regulatory oversight and reform aimed at improving transparency and accountability in the credit rating industry. Yeah. So that is what has happened. What a couple of people have said here, that probably after that event, what has happened is the credit rating companies have become more transparent and more norms oriented. So it's not that it is because XYZ is my customer and they are asking me to give a AAA rating, I will give him a AAA rating. Only because he is paying me money. No, I cannot be that much flexible. So that kind of, what do you say, sanity, transparency, clarity has come up after this event. Yes, there is still, that is why I'm saying, you will never see, even if you trail and test it, you will never see a model giving 100% accuracy. It never happens. When you build a software and give it to a customer, you say 96 to 97% uptime. You never see it is 100% uptime because you never know how the cloud will behave. Now, today, Moody's Investor Service continue to be a major player in the credit rating industry. Its rating and analysis are widely used by investors, issuers, regulators to evaluate credit risk. Moody's has expanded its coverage to include sovereign ratings, corporate bonds, structured finance, and financial instruments. The company globally operates with offices in numerous countries, providing credit opinions and research across a wide range of sectors and geographies. Now, just quickly look at the graph where year-to-year graph Moody's swings is given in the graph, starting from Rajiv Gandhi, VP Singh to current Narendra Modi. How Moody has rated India. Yeah, Bharat, we are expecting, hopefully it happens. Yeah, sorry. So up to 2017 is something which I got. So we have to go and check, Google it, that what is the current rating. Hopefully it should increase, improve with Modi sirs. Modi is doing a lot of things. Hopefully it should improve. So triple B plus is not that bad, but definitely that way, if you see, then A2 is much better, which was during Rajiv Gandhi. So we can stick to the factual discussion only without any biasness for any particular political party. But anyhow, hopefully we'll definitely have a good rating. This is the history of Standard and Poor. So GDP, so there is something called a rating procedure of a company and a rating mechanism for the country. So I told you there will be two more rating sessions, sessions on rating, where we would be talking about the country and sovereign rating. When we talk about the international rating, where international rating agencies rates a country. So there we are going to cover a lot of things. In the next two sessions on next coming Saturday, we are going to do that. So fiscal deficit is still high, but probably it is much lesser compared to the previous financial years. So freebies is a political game. I have no comments for that. So Amit, when you say marginally lower means you want to say that marginally lower compared to the previous financial years or the previous government? Okay. Okay. Understood. So just quickly go through the Standard and Poor history, how it started and how it continued its journey. Okay, let everybody complete. Then only I'll go to the next sheet. Well, guys, done? Done, everyone? Okay. Now we are going to discuss certain alternate to credit rating. So one is credit rating, we understand. Second is some alternate to credit rating. So what does this picture show? An alternate to credit rating. What does this picture show? It is a risk score. But alternate to credit rating is a bureau risk score. It's a bureau risk score. All right. 300. Now, when we talk about alternate to traditional credit rating, there could be alternate data. So when we talk about alternate data, instead of relying solely on traditional credit data, alternate credit scoring incorporates non-traditional data sources such as utility bills payment, rental history, mobile phone payments, and even social media activity by analyzing these alternate data points. So what I'm going to do is that after I cover this PPT, I will show you in Excel how a scorecard, a comprehensive scorecard should look like, including many alternate data. I'm going to show you that. Yes, fintechs are using that. In fact, there are many companies who are providing these alternate data sources. So not only that, if you have heard about BNPL, I think I talked about this in the last week. So buy now, pay later. They also consider your mobile payment history and the pattern of your mobile payment. So if you are using a postpaid connection, how much amount you pay and how promptly you pay, based on which BNPL company gives you a limit. They typically start with a limit of 1,000. It goes normally, I have seen it goes up to 10,000, 10 to 12,000, right? When they give you a limit, they do not charge any interest for that. What they do, if you make a late payment, then they do charge interest. Where from they earn money from the merchants. So this alternate data is also important, and which is a substitute of credit rating. So for the company, what could be the alternate data? For the company, what could be the alternate data? Guys, answer please in the chat box. What could be the alternate data for companies, corporates? Electricity bill payment 1, GST payment 2, 3, next. Other utility payment, next. Tax return, okay, next. Advance tax, next. EPF timely deposit, very good. Next. Right, followers on social media page, positive and negative comments, very important. What else? Glassdoor, very good. It shows employees review also. What else? Sentiment analysis, ML. So I'm coming to that in the next point. We will talk about that ML algorithm. Website traffic, fair enough. Next. Auditor's pedigree, very important. Glassdoor is a site where generally employees put their reviews on about the company, that how is the company to work with. New launches. Forex hedging, Okay. Dividend history. Very good. Next, there are some big things you are missing out. Profitability margin is a conventional source, Baba. You can get it in the balance sheet, PL account. That's okay. GST is already set, but then there are certain important things which you guys are still missing out. Yeah, that can be one thing, that listings in the major e-commerce. Probably they are listed on Flipkart, Amazon. It's okay, fair enough. And how long they have been listed. Consistency is profitability is again something which will come under traditional method of underwriting by looking at their financials. Debtor and creditor repayments will also something. CRIP civil core is again, that's okay. That's not something alternate data. I talk about alternate data. Brand visibility, fair enough, but how do you measure it? How do you measure it? Check bounce is not an alternate data. It's a traditional data. So the most important thing, no, Amit, not interest coverage ratios. Why? Because those are again conventional data. You can easily open the balance sheet and see. Something called news. Let me clean the screen. Something called news. Currently, your entire underwriting system can be integrated with a news channel or different uh, source point who gives you all the news by API integration. So news about the company, for the ongoing legal case, for ongoing anything, any news, good or bad, e-court. E-court is electronic court where from you get to know how many pending cases are there against that company. You can do API integration. Next is, what could be the next? What could be the next? Anything else? A stock price, yeah, you can, if it is a listed company. Stock price, market capitalization, could be. What could be the next? UN security list. You know what this is? UN security list. Customer complaints, yes. Customer complaints. Complaints. Utility bills. Okay. Now tell me one thing, UN security list. Anybody has any idea? Right now, credit rating companies are checking UN security list also. Anybody has any idea? Correct. I'm going to show you what is UN security list. Can you read this screen? This name, Nashwan Abd al-Razzaq Abd al-Baqi, right? Date of birth, Iraq, good quality, right? Joined Al-Qaeda, read this line. Joined Al-Qaeda in 1996 and was at that time an important liaison to Taliban in Afghanistan. received money from Ansar al-Islam in order to conduct attacks in Kirkuk and Nineveh in Iraq during spring and summer of 2005. Al-Qaeda senior official in custody of the United States of America as of August 2014. Father's name is Abdul al-Razzaq Abdul al-Baki. Mother's name is Nadira Ayub Asad. Photo available for inclusion in the Interpol UN Security Council Special Notice. A review pursuant to Security Council Resolution 1822 2008 was concluded on 15 June 2010. Interpol UN Security Council Special Notice. Okay? If you click on this notice, you get to know the details. So what do you get to know from UN Security Council? So this gives you the list of UN terrorists. This UN Security Council is having the list of people who has done, were either associated with Al-Qaeda or some kind of terrorist organization or in money laundering scam at a global level. This is an entire list. Now, either you can check it manually, that whether the person's name is getting revealed there or not, or else you can do an API integration where you will put the entire details of the customer, you will send it, you will immediately get a response, yes or no. How many of you are aware of this UN Security Council? Anybody who was aware of this? That there is something called UN Security Council. And this is in alphabetical order, I'll tell you. There are many names which you will get. You have to scroll down and see. You can click on every link and see. But be careful when you click on all these links. But this link can take you to a link of something else, so be a bit careful. So politically exposed person is still better. Name available in UN Security Council is a dangerous thing. See, I am doing business. I can support a political party. I can even contest an election. That is something different, which happens in India. Fair enough. And I can show you. See, you talk about Naveen Jindal. He's from Jindal Group, right? He was from Jindal Group, right? He's not a PEP. Is he not a PEP? Politically exposed person, Naveen Jindal? Yes or no? Yes, he's a PEP. He's from Congress. Absolutely. Who doesn't know that Adani and Ambani supports BJP? Everybody knows they support BJP. When there was Congress government, they used to support, Ambani's used to support Congress, but they're not into direct policy. Why I quoted the name of Naveen Jindal? Because he was into direct politics. He contested election. He was an MP. Right? That is a different thing. You can contest election as a citizen of India. You have every right to contest election. You have every right to choose your political party. But having a criminal background, your name reflecting in e-court list, your name reflecting in RBI defaulter list is something which is a big red flag. Right? Right or not? Politically exposed person is acceptable. So there are a lot of customers which ICICI HDFC is having, who are the excellent track record customers, superb customer, they are paying fantastically, but they are political party. See, you find anybody in Haryana, you find anybody in UP, They are either somewhere or other related to either BJP or Samajwadi Party or Congress or something. Some of them have contested elections, but they look at their track records. Not everybody. Look at their track records of repayment. It's quite good. So you are good enough. You have good enough reasons to go ahead for funding. But coming a name in UN Security Council list is a dangerous thing. Similarly, you can check RBI defaulters list. I don't know whether I'll get that list or not. RBI defaulter list. So there are a lot of there are a lot of companies whose name gets revealed here. So willful defaulters, say for an example, from I have to search a bit for the list. You can also Google. I'll also Google it. And if possible, I'll share the list with you guys. Okay. Now the question is whether traditional public sector bank or private sector banks, they do use alternative data or not. Yes, they have started using that. So I'll tell you again, I'll again give that reference. So yes, there are certain companies where they do, especially the MNC companies. So when I was with Volvo, they used to take resort of this UNT security list. In fact, many of the companies who are currently developing LOS and LMS, LOS, like loan originating system, they are doing an API integration with UN Security Council list, obviously based on the requirement from the client side. Now, normally, ideally, yes, we can do it. But what is the lacuna I would like to say? If there is a name match, so for an example, Nawazuddin Siddiqui, just I'm quoting a name. Do not go to the actor and tell that Abhijit said that your name is getting reflected. I just quoting a name, say Nawazuddin Siddiqui, right? His name is getting reflected is UN terrorist security list. Now this poor guy Nawazuddin Siddiqui, who is an actor in Mumbai, he goes for a loan, and because his name is getting reflected, he gets rejected, right? So again, it's not only name mismatch. Then if name mismatch is there, then you need to do a deeper analysis. What? Look at his father's name. You have seen the guy's name, which I have shown to you. His father's name was also reflected. So then you have to see whether father's name is matching or not. So if father's name is matching, then click on that link and see the other details if you can get. So when a system gives you an automated response, then it gives you multiple data like name match, father's name match, DOB match, location match. Now, probably you are funding a guy who has never stepped out of Hisar, Haryana, right? Or never stepped out of Bangalore, right? He has never gone to any other place other than Bangalore. Then somebody with a similar name is appearing in Syria. Then how can you relate? This poor guy has never gone out of Bangalore, and his name is getting reflected in Syria, right? But once his name is getting reflected, that gives a red flag. You will do your due diligence, right? So recently the trend is changing, and I would like to say, reiterate once again that the FinTech Fest which happened, there were a few companies who came, were providing alternate data to the company's banks. And I have seen few bankers visiting the stall also to get those informations, to know more about those companies and the services they are providing, so that they can improve their pattern of underwriting. So these are important, getting an RBI defaulter list, getting an UN Security Council list, because you never know that the guy whom you are funding, tomorrow he can be arrested and you will not be able to recover money from him. And as a credit rating company, as a credit rating analyst also, when you are rating a company, sorry, when you are rating a company, you should be able to know the promoter's background in details and ensure that the promoter's name is not even included in the UN Security Council list. Because tomorrow, if a key promoter is arrested, the company might shut down. And then there is again a question on your rating skill, rating ability. What has happened to Moody's and Standard and Poor during 2008? Got my point? Could I make your questions clear? Could I answer your question? Could I answer your question? Not getting any response, guys. I don't know whether I'm audible or not. Guys, am I audible? Could I make my could I answer the question? So the next most critical point is machine learning algorithm. So we know a lot of talked about subject is AI and ML. Machine learning algorithms can be employed to analyze large volume of data and identify patterns that traditional credit rating models might overlook. These algorithms can process a wide range of variables and factors to generate credit scores, including employment history, educational background, spending habits, and more. Now, say, as a credit underwriter, you look at a balance, you look at a bank statement. Just an example. What are the things you look at in the bank statement? Can you write down in the chat box, please? In a bank statement, when you look at a bank statement, what are those critical things which you look into the bank statement? Not the ordinary things. Spending pattern, okay. EMI check bounce, fair enough. Now my question is to Anand. When you talk about spending pattern, what is that pattern you look into? You have correctly said. I wanted to listen this only, spending pattern. Because I'm talking about machine learning, which is pattern analysis. So when we talk about spending pattern, what kind of spending pattern or what kind of pattern you see in a bank statement? Can you elaborate? Chat box, please. Okay, Kunal is saying common discretion large of small transactions or big ticket transactions. Okay, what else? What else? So there can be large transactions like I purchase grocery, could be a bill of 3,000. I purchase a mobile, could be a bill of 30,000. Correct. So this is one thing. Now credit spending or saving based spending. Can you elaborate more? Can you elaborate in terms of the time frame from the 1st of the month to 30th of the month? From that perspective, can you please elaborate? Time frame. First of the month to 30th of the month. Spending after salary credit. Very important and very close. So, correct. So the moment I get my salary, what I have to do? If I'm staying on the rent, I have to pay my rent, I have to give EMIs, all these things are gone. Then I have to, clear my SIPs, my insurance premium, right? My monthly medicals, or entire money I am spending on credit card, and then I'm purchasing on credit card, then I am pending bill on credit card, right? This is something more. Next, what is my balance? What is the balance on 15th? What is the balance on 30th? Is my balance becoming nil slowly and gradually? And when it becomes nil slowly and gradually, in the next month, within 5 days, I am pending a huge amount on the credit card. So the scenario is like this, that the scenario is like this. On first, my salary gets credited and my balance is 1 lakh. On 25th, my balance is 10 rupees. On 20th, my balance is 100 rupees. On 15th, it's slightly better. It is 500 rupees, right? Now, next month on 2nd, I am spending, I'm paying 30,000 to the credit card company. What does it reflect? I am paying 30,000 to the credit card company on the next month. What does it reflect? What does it reflect? It reflects I am living on credit. Absolutely. From 15th to 30th, I have been living on credit, right? The scenario can be more dangerous. This scenario can be more dangerous. What is that? On 2nd of month, I am paying 3,000 to the credit card. And again on 2nd of next month, next month, I am paying 3,500. Then again on 2nd of next month, I am paying 5,000 to credit card companies. What does this mean? What does this mean? No, sir. This is a dangerous situation. That means I have taken a debt of 30,000 initially, which I have converted to EMI. Then additionally, I have taken another 10,000. So my liability is increasing. It will get reflected in my CIBIL also. Then additional 10,000, and every time I convert it into monthly equal EMI. So my monthly interest payment, interest liability, everything is going up. And my debt is going up. It can be a big red flag. Minimum amount paying. These are some observations when you look at bank statement. It's not only that we will see balance on certain dates, we'll see check bounce, we will see what are the credit and debit, whether EMI is going out. Those are traditional things. We know, but these are some non-traditional things which you have to understand. So this is for individual. The same thing can be for corporate as well. When you do rating of a company, you will see the bank statement also for a company, right? When you do rate, yes or no? Now what is happening, this machine learning algorithms will help you do it not manually, but in an automated. You don't need to do anything. You simply upload a PDF of a bank statement, it will give you all of this analysis, be it for individual, be it for corporate. Now, the same thing which I have told you is bank account analysis. I don't need to repeat it. Peer-to-peer assessment, we understand. Collateral-based assessment. This could include assets such as property, vehicles, or valuable possessions, which is provided as a collateral to the borrower. Now, you might have seen in a rating rationale, there are two parts which is majorly evaluated. One is your short-term loan, another is your long-term liabilities. So in both cases, you might have given collateral. Could be property collateral, could be FD as a collateral. Now, as a rating analyst, you need to ideally know that the collateral which is given, whether it is proper or not, whether it is properly valued or not. Yesterday, we were talking about a 120% funding, right? A property which is ideally valued at 80 is valued at 120 and given a loan of 100 rupees. There could be such a scenario. If that scenario happens, then what happens? Then there is a loss on sale. Banker will file a suit for loss on sale. Banker will also file a suit for manipulation and forgery. Then what the company will happen? It will shut down. Then as a credit rating company, there will be question mark on your credibility and your due diligence. That's why you need to do collateral based assessment. It's very, very important. Right? Clear up to this portion is clear? There are certain risks which are associated with credit rating. One is biasness, because credit rating still now has been following certain, conventional method which are quite biased. Quality of rating also varies from an analyst to analyst, company to company, getting information available. There is a confusion between rating of an instrument and a company. So when you rate an instrument, it can have a different rating from the rating of a company. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? An instrument can have a different rating from the rating of a company. Industry or sector specific effect on rating. So I told you that there could be a turbulence in the industry which is foresighted or not, or there could be certain regulations on the industry which can affect the rating. Qualitative aspects are not taken care in the rating, so the relation between the promoters and all these things are not taken care. Rating agency cannot quickly foresee worsening credit conditions. So you again see what has been happening and what could happen, but there could be certain, all of a sudden situation which can worsen the credit rating, credit condition. Rating agency again cannot predict future risk. Till there is not so much of AI/ML used in rating agency till now. There are some important ratios for credit rating. Credit rating considers debt to equity ratio, interest coverage ratio, current ratio to see whether, to meet the current liabilities or not, debt service coverage ratio, profitability ratio, cash flow to debt ratio. These are the typical ratios, though other ratios are considered, but these are the major ratios which are considered by credit rating agencies. So we have spoken about these ratios in details while we were covering financial statement analysis. Now we will see the credit rating rationale of Infosys. So just a second, guys. Just go through this. So you can see this is the rating rationale for Infosys published in 23rd November 2021 for your reference, where the rating has been done on long-term debt and commercial paper. So commercial paper has been reaffirmed as A1 plus, and CRISIL has reaffirmed as AAA for the long-term debt for Infosys. Now detailed rationale is given, which you can again read. This is available in open source, you can get it. Okay, Anand, thanks for the info. So this is a detailed rating, analytical approach. What are the key rating drivers that has been explained? So they mention the strength. They do a kind of SWOT analysis. They mention the strength. They mention the weakness, opportunities, and threats as well. Some key figures. And list of entities consolidated. Those are subsidiary or co-subsidiary. So now you can see, you get the analysts contact number as well. So Anuj Shetty, Rajeshwari, Karthikeyan. So in case if you have any, like query which you are not able to understand from the rating rationale, you can directly call them or send them a mail, they will reply. For me, it has happened, they had replied. Right? So this kind of rating rationale is needed even if you are into equity market and you are a private equity player, you want to invest, or you are a venture capitalist, you want to invest on a company. Right? Any queries, guys? Any query till now? Any query for me? So this is the last topic. This was the last topic for today. Any query for me? Otherwise, we'll wrap up. Yeah, Kunal, tell me, please. Thanks, Tanumai. Kunal, please, your question, please. RBI credit analyst exam, need to check it, whether there is any credit analyst exam in RBI or not. I didn't know there is any credit analyst exam. Means you want to see a certification from RBI or a job kind of thing. Certification from RBI, I'm not very sure. Not very sure. But in fact, CCRA is a good course for if you are looking for a credit analyst role. Okay, what else? Kunal, you said a couple of questions earlier. So CCRA is definitely quite elaborate. It's not only the books, you are having a webinar and which I have tried to put in maximum real life scenario. So in case you are a fresher, I don't know, in case you are a fresher or you are in a job and you want to switch to credit underwriting or risk underwriting or risk, then obviously with these practical examples, you would be much, much better off in an interview. Any other question for me, guys? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Anand. So see, the point is that, Kunal, are you working or you are a fresher? Tell me that first. Praveen, please write to academy@equalify.org. Okay. So Kunal, you are working as a, you're working as a trader for which company? Okay. So if you do CCRA, you get an entry, like if you want to come down to underwriting, then obviously you can get into underwriting. Now it is totally on your work. See, honestly speaking, these certifications like CCRA is definitely going to give you a good amount of exposure of underwriting. But what actually counts is your experience and how do you do underwriting. So I'll tell you a practical example. One case, so one particular underwriter looks at a case. Mr. A looks at a case and Mr. B looks at the same case. Mr. A can reject a case. Mr. B can pick up the case and go ahead with certain mitigates. And the case can perform good, case might not perform good. If the case performs good, then obviously the intuition or due diligence, rather than saying intuition, I would say due diligence of Mr. B is praiseworthy compared to Mr. A. Again, if it goes bad, absolutely the situation is reversed for Mr. B, where you will say that Mr. A was correct. Now it is up to you. The best part of credit underwriting is, what I believe, is keeping an open eye and understand the market dynamics. If you are into retail market, retail lending, frequently visit market along with the sales guys and understand what is happening in the market. You have to understand what is happening in the market. It's not that because I am working in a credit, so I should be sitting in my office and people should not know me. I should be knowing customers from different locations. I should be able to pick up phone and call up somebody that this guy has come from your area who wants a funding of around 5 lakhs. Do you know him? How much credible this guy is? And that customer should have respect for you that, yes, this is the guy who had come and given loan to me. And when he is asking an information, I should give him the correct information. So that kind of rapport building is not only the responsibility of sales guys, but also for the credit guys. Because unless you develop that kind of rapport, okay, Praveen, thanks a lot. Bye. Unless you develop that kind of rapport, you will never get the true picture of the market. And once you get true picture of the market, especially for retail lending, you are the masterpiece underwriter. Coming to the corporate underwriting, you need to know how the sector is performing. You need to know certain government regulations, certain upcoming projects, and obviously you need to be a very good analyst in terms of the company financials and all these stuff. So it is all about your work. Getting a certificate will definitely take you ahead of your competition, but retaining your position and growing in the corporate ladder will obviously depend on how do you work, you perform, and how your portfolio performs. The portfolio which you have brought into the company by your underwriting, how the entire portfolio is performing. Could I make my point clear? Could I make my point clear, Kunal? Great. Anything else for me, guys? Otherwise, let us wrap up. It's 12:34. Thanks everyone for participating. Thanks a lot. Have a nice Sunday. Thanks everyone. Bye. Take care.